Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And I just realized I was talking with the mute button. Sorry about that. Let's restart. Good day, everybody. What is good? Hope everybody is doing well on this Thursday, March the 6th, 2025. I am not Rich Mancuso. I'm filling in for Rich Mancuso, who's not feeling too well this evening. We hope he gets better, and then he's watching right now, and he'll be back with you next week. So I'm hosting today of Keeping in the Ring, and hopefully we're going to have a good show. I had a couple of cancellations today, but we're going to make the best of it today. I got a surprise guest today. I think you guys are going to enjoy this fellow, enjoy this guy. He's a good man. He's been around the boxing business for about 40 years now. He's been on radio. He's been on TV. He's worked with promoters, managers, met fighters, worked with Hall of Fame fighters as well. And, I'm excited to have him on, and he'll be with us pretty shortly. But let's get to it, man. A lot going on here in New York, right? In New York City. I'm in the Bronx, and Rich Mancuso, as you know, is from the Bronx as well. And a lot going on in the city as far like this past Saturday. We had a big fight in the Barclays where Tank Davis fought Lamont Roach. We're going to talk about it in a minute. We had a big press conference, big announcement this past Tuesday here in New York at the Palladium for a big fight that's going to happen in May. Fatal Fury. We got a major card that's going to be in the middle of Times Square. I mean, that's going to be pretty exciting and pretty epic, and something that you could tell your children, and your children could tell their children in the future. A big card in the middle of Times Square. And then there was another press conference today that just came out of nowhere. The announcement of Canelo Alvarez taking on William Skull. There was a press conference today that I did not see. Maybe we'll talk about it when my guest gets on later in the evening in a few minutes or so. I see CDK is in here. Salute to you, CDK. CDK, thanks for coming through. And as you come through, I'll shout you guys out and say what's up. But let's get to it, man. We're in New York. We're in the Bronx, but in New York, a lot of things happen, and we're gonna start off with this past Saturday, Tank Davis taking on Lamont Roach, and there you have it. Look who I have here. I got a picture of Tank Davis and everybody's favorite referee, Steve Willis. I mean, he's not my favorite referee. I've personally been complaining about him in the past maybe year and a half or so. He had another bad night in the office. We're gonna talk about it. I got a little video to show you, but the call around the world, and not just the call, he did a couple of mistakes throughout this fight as well. And we're going to talk about it. Tank Davis did not look like the normal Tank Davis knocking guys out. Lamont Roach was definitely gamed, and I thought he definitely outclassed Tank Davis in this fight. And, he was shortchanged in the decision, in my opinion. At the end of the day, the scoring of this fight, it came to a majority draw. Two judges had it a draw, whereas one judge gave it 7 rounds to 5, 115 to 113 for Tank Davis. Here, as you see here, I have the scores of the fight. As you see, the two judges had it a draw. What surprises me, in the first 6 rounds, 2 judges had it identical scores in the first 6 rounds, giving Tank Davis 5 of the first 6 rounds. I found that to be quite surprising. As I thought Lamont Roach won this fight. I had Lamont Roach winning this fight 7 rounds to 5 myself. It was a close fight. It wasn't a robbery, but was it a robbery? I mean, you have, robberies. Close fights are not robberies, but robberies as far as missed calls, yeah, I would say that. Let me go to it real quick. Let's look at this real quick. There you have it. Look at this. Took a knee on purpose. Supposedly supposed to get a standing 8 count according to the rules. Took a knee. Not only he took a knee, he went over to the corner. His coach got up on the apron, wiped the towel amongst his face. If you look closely in the video, you see that part of his braid did hit his eye off of a jab of Lamont Roach. I thought it should have been scored a knockdown. Willis began to count, and then all of a sudden stopped counting, and then kind of gave him a brief warning. Definitely something that's going to be looked at by the New York State Athletic Commission, as Lamont Roach has filed an official protest. So we're waiting to hear news on that. News is that they may overturn this draw to a win for Lamont Roach. Very shaky. Also, the instant replay was not working that night. It was supposed to be instant replay where they could have ruled the knockdown. That all of a sudden was not working. I find that very, very suspicious as well. Throughout this fight, the referee was warning Lamont Roach of low blows. And there was in one instance where he warned Lamont Roach of a low blow because Tank was complaining about them. And usually when a ref stops the action in the fight, to warn him, it's because he saw something. He saw something and he's giving him a warning. But in this case, it was based off of Tank's instructions to give him a warning of the low blows. Also in this fight, if you look closely, Tank Davis got away with a shoulder check, hitting Lamont Roach in his chin with his shoulder, which is very dirty move in boxing. It's okay in MMA, but not in boxing. Also, it looked like in, I think I can't remember, maybe round 6, it looked like Tank Davis was going to bite Lamont Roach. I thought that was very surprising. And then, at the end of the fight, Tank Davis, what he had to say was he blamed some grease in his hair, that he got his hair done like 2 days ago, which I thought was pretty funny. I have a clip. I was debating whether I should play it or not. I think it's pretty funny. I think I'm going to play it anyway. I'm going to play parts of it anyway. Why not? Tank Davis talking about he did his hair a couple of days ago.
The knockdown, what happened? I just got my hair done. The knockdown, what happened? I just got my hair done 2 days ago, and she picked grease in my shit, so the shit was like, like when you sweating and things like that, and the grease come in my face. It burnt my eyes type shit. Damn, why y'all booing like I'm saying bullshit? Like, this is real facts. Come on, man. I just got my hair done 2 days ago. Swing the women's gone. I just got my hair done 2 days ago. I just got my hair done. And she picked grease in my shit. I just got my hair done 2 days ago. I just got my hair done. I just got my hair done. I just got my hair done 2 days ago. I just got my hair done. And she picked grease in my shit. I just got my hair done. I just got my hair done. I just got my.
That's the real. I'm not gonna play the whole video, but you guys get the point. I thought Lamont Roach won. I thought this was a travesty for Lamont Roach. I think they robbed Lamont Roach. This is what you call a robbery, not because of the scorecards, but because of the way this fight was officiated. I thought Willis did a terrible job in multiple factions of the fight, not just the missed call on the knee, just missed calls on a dirty play by a frustrated Tank Davis, and also with the coach coming up in the apron, which he shouldn't have done that with the towel. That should have been a ruling for a DQ. So definitely thought this was a robbery just by the fact of Steve Willis. And I wonder if they're going to do anything and maybe punish Steve Willis. Steve Willis has had bad nights in the office before. I've mentioned this a bunch of times on my personal channel. Maybe this might be the first or second time I mentioned it here on Rich Mancuso show. Let's see who's in the chat. I see my man, Mr. Shelters, in the chat. Thanks for coming through. Real Prison Talk with Tommy. Thanks for coming through. And my man, the Jab Jamboree. Appreciate you guys coming through. Do me a favor. In the top, I have pinned to the chat Rich Mancuso's channel and his live. If you want to do me a favor, please click that link. Go watch the show through his stream and subscribe to the channel and give my friend Rich Mancuso, some likes and some subscriptions. I really appreciate if you guys did that. So then moving along, I'm not going to go too much into detail with the Tank Davis situation. That's how I feel. We're waiting on word for the New York State Athletic Commission to see what they decide. And, hopefully they overturn it. In my personal opinion, I know they're talking about a rematch. In the press conference, Tank Davis came late to the press conference. He wasn't really thinking about a rematch. He was more concerned. He said he had a rematch maybe down the line, but supposedly he was going to announce another fight that he was going to take. So my guess, you guys may think I'm crazy. I think he was trying to get a fight with Jake Paul, but now recently, ever since that press conference, they've been back and forth on Twitter, Roach and Tank Davis back and forth. And now Tank Davis wants an immediate rematch. In my personal opinion, I think Lamont Roach shouldn't take the immediate rematch. I don't think he's going to get a fair shake again. If you didn't get a fair shake where you clearly won the fight, in my opinion, then how do you think you're going to get a fair shake in a rematch? So what I think Lamont should do is just maybe take a fight with Shakur or somebody else, get a nice little payday there, and then then maybe take the rematch with Tank, win or lose, because his name will still be relevant. He still's going to have Tank Davis tied to his name. So in my opinion, no rematch. Now, if for whatever reason, which I don't think is going to happen, if the New York State Athletic Commission does overturn this and deduct the point and give Lamont Roach the victory, I think he has to rematch Tank Davis based on the contract, because I think that was a rematch clause based off a win, not based off of a draw. So that's the key word there. There's a rematch clause if Lamont Roach was to win versus Tank Davis. So therefore, there would be. I don't think they're going to overturn it. We shall see. I think we're going to have a ruling soon. Stay tuned for that one. Moving along. This past Tuesday was a big press conference. We had a big press conference here in New York at the Palladium. We got the big three fights in the middle of Times Square. We're going to have Teofimo Lopez taking on Arnold Barboza. And they're going to lead off, and followed by Devin Haney making his debut at 147 at welterweight, taking on Jose Ramirez, who will be fighting. I think this is going to be his first fight at 147 as well. If Devin Haney was to win this fight, which he's going to be favored to win this fight, he would therefore maybe get a rematch with who's going to be supposedly the main event of this card, and Ryan Garcia, as he takes on Rolly Romero. If both of these guys are victorious, look for a rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney later on in the year. Now, we know I just said main event of the fight. Technically, there is no main event. I think all three fights are main event worthy on any card. I just think that it's just the order of it. I think all three fights are main event fights. So it just happens of who's going first, who's going last. In my opinion, I think if Devin Haney wins and looks very, very good against Jose Ramirez, I think it puts more pressure on Ryan, fighting last, where he has to do something spectacular, to kind of top Devin Haney. So, it's very interesting. But what was interesting was the press conference. And even before the press conference, Teofimo Lopez was very, very chatty, talking up a storm. And I'm just going to show you what happened before the press conference.
Yeah, living. It's about time. I'm living. It's about time. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Wait a second. I can feel you. Ooh, I can smell you. You know that shit. Smell you. You know what that smells like, baby. Oh yeah, producer. Yeah, that's butt, pussy, and ass. It's a whole bunch of it. Yeah, it's you. Ooh, I can't. Can't be around it. All of a sudden, you get energy when the camera get on. Look a little bitch. Carry Crawford had his hand around you like a little bitch. Hell yeah, the biggest bitch there is, man. Yeah, you are. I know you are. I know you are. We know it. Damn right. We know it. I'm gonna show him May 2nd too. I like it. Yeah. Damn right. Hell yeah.
That was Teofimo and Arnold Barboza meeting up for the first time before the press conference. Here's another video after that, where it got a little bit like they looked like they're ready to throw hands. At least Arnold Barboza was ready to throw hands.
Can't be around it. All of a sudden, you get energy when the camera get on, like a little bitch. Terry Crawford had his hand around you like a little bitch. Hell yeah, the biggest bitch there is, man. Yeah, you are. I know you are. I know you are. We know it. Damn right. We know it. I'm showing May 2nd too. I like it. Yeah. Damn right. Hell yeah. Keep it going. Why you turn around? Come on. Don't turn around on the bitch. Come on, what? Don't turn around on the bitch. There you go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, what? What's that? The real face off. Nah, fuck that. Sorry. What? Have everyone get out. Let's go. Yeah, what, you want to fight here? We can do whatever you want. I don't fight here. I fight in the ring. All right, then. That's my work. All right, then shut your fucking mouth. That's my work. Oh, I'm always work. Always. Every day. All day. Every day. All day. All day. Swallowing the fucking cut. The hard motherfucker. You little pussy. Big time. I've heard it.
I just want to apologize for the language that's in there, but this is a fight and this is boxing. And, you know, things get a little bit crazy when it comes to talking, you know, spit with an H. And I say that, and I learned that from my guest that's about to come on. He taught me that word. And, you know, before we go on to the rest of this card, I'm just going to bring on my guest right now. He's been in the business for about 40 years now. And if I'm wrong, he'll correct me. He's the host of one of the longest running radio shows, boxing radio shows ever in Ring Talk Worldwide. I bring you the great Pedro Fernandez. What's going on, Pedro?
Man, with an introduction like that, it better live up to the hype.
Well, then, hopefully you're going to live up to the hype then.
Okay, well, what's going on? How's life treating you, Tommy D?
Life is good. I can't complain. I've been a little bit busy. You know, work is keeping me on my toes, but yeah, I'm good. I can't complain. How about you?
So I'm okay. Do you have an intimate relationship with Floyd Schofield Sr.?
Oh man, I don't want to talk about that.
No, I mean, you gotta come right out the gate with that, man.
And I don't like the way you said internet relations. You know that.
No, intimate relationship.
I don't even like the way you said that with and tying me to his name. You know, because it could be a little bit funny, but I don't want to go there.
Okay.
But that was good. That was good because as you know, yesterday I did it. We had an interview with Floyd Schofield Sr. and you guys can check that on my channel. I don't want to talk about it.
No, just look at his face.
Look at my face throughout the video. Yeah, you'll see. So, but how are you, Pedro? What's going on? What's new in your world?
I'm excellent, man. I'm a little upset. My acupuncturist was running late. And I tried to tell him like this. He said like this to me. He said, the patient before you was late. I said, so don't bang me because the patient before me was late. Bang her.
Yeah. Well, bang, huh?
I know, you know, in other words, take care of me instead, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And he didn't. Anyway, bottom line is I'm a big acupuncture guy.
Okay.
It's healed a lot of my wounds when I fell through a roof. The regular doctor said to me, we're going to give you oxycodone, kid. You get pain pills for the rest of your life for free. And I said, wow. This is long before the opioid crisis, okay? And I said, no, I don't think so. They go, no. She goes, yeah, well, you'll be taking something for that pain. Well, I smoke weed. They didn't know it. Okay, and finally I said, you know, and I'm out of here. Finally, after HBO gave me a little incentive to get away from the police department, $2,000 a week, and I took it.
Okay.
$2,000 a week to do 2 hours of radio.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, I was a well-paid hoe. I'm the best hoe Seth Abraham and Lou DeBella and all those guys ever had.
Well, speaking of one of your careers, you know, for the people that don't know you and the people in the chat watching, tell us, beside you being a hoe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Besides me being a hoe, I was born and raised in San Francisco. I try to tell people when I used to go on the road, Tommy D, you know, San Francisco was a big gay capitalist, and I would go on the road and I'd be single, and I would tell people I'm from San Francisco and get these weird looks. And one time I was in my Spanish is terrible, man. I was in Las Vegas signing autographs at a restaurant for the Chavez for the Chavez Camacho fight in 1992. So I'm signing these autographs on these pictures, and these girls ask me where I'm from in Spanish and I told them I'm American. Okay, which means I'm a queer. Okay, And the girls started talking about it, and they're going back and forth. They're pointing at each other. I have no idea what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying, from? Right? Well, my name was Mud after a few minutes here. And you can't clean that up.
No.
You can't clean that up. You can't tell them, look, I made a mistake. No, you can't clean it up. So I haven't spoken any Spanish since 1992. I have no confidence.
Good job.
I have no confidence, man.
Well,
but outside,
just...
no. Here's what's up. I'm a born and raised in San Francisco citizen. Didn't move here. Let me underline that. Didn't move here. I was a 4-time Golden Glove champion, San Francisco policeman. I went to the Olympic trials in 1984, finished 13th in the country, lost a decision in the Western Olympic trials to eventual Kronk fighter, Vincent Webb of St. Louis. He was a bad dude. He was ranked.
Oh, we lost him. He'll be right back. Wow, he was just getting into it. He was just getting good, Pedro. Let me see who's in the chat right now before we continue. He'll be on. My man D Free was good. Prize fighter. Joe Townsend is in the building as well. My man, Mr. Shelton. PYP Boxing was good, bro. Was good. And who else is in the building? What does he say? They both. And then you guys are bugging out in the chat. Let me see what's up with Pedro. Pedro is lost here. Let me just take him off for a minute until we get settled in. Yeah, he's having a little bit of difficulties. It had to be Miguel, huh? But yeah, Pedro, real quick, I know he's going to get into it, but he's been doing radio, and he's been so gracious to let me come on the radio show every Sundays. He's on the show every Saturday and Sunday on Sports Byline, and 1 hour Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday, and he's let me come on, and we get to talk boxing. He has some special guests on there from time to time, and he puts on a great show. And he's been around a long time. He's worked with promoters like Don King. I think he's worked with Lou DiBella. And, I have some pictures here. I was going to have him go over it and speak about it. Hopefully he back on. And okay, hold on. There he is.
Okay. Now, my fault here is, listen, I steal cable from the gypsy next door. Wi-Fi. No. That was you. That's you. That's not me. What am I?
No. I don't want to talk about no cable connections here or anything, or any pay-per-views or anything like that.
Hey, come on. Listen, you and I spend our hard-earned money as boxing fans. We pay for DAZN, we pay for ESPN, and we buy our pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't like doing it. I go over people's houses. Tommy D, when I go over people's houses, I don't ask them how they got the signal.
You don't.
I don't say a word.
You don't care.
No, unless the signal goes out, they'll say, "Hey, where'd you steal this from?" Because that's what they do. A lot of times, if you steal a pay-per-view, and people that have stolen know what I'm talking about, like about halfway through, they cut it off on you, and boom, you're done. You're sold out. You're what happened? Anyway, better off just to pay. I think the best deal going on as far as pay-per-view is concerned is to get 4 or 5 of your friends together and just sit down and watch the fights together, because you guys can have a little festival between you guys, a little boxing match. In the old days, the best fights to me, the best parties were at closed circuit parties. We go to a closed circuit television. The last one was in 1996. I promoted Oscar De La Hoya and Julio Cesar Chavez, the first one, on closed circuit television in a theater with 5 screens. I did 4 screens in Spanish and 1 screen in English. Okay. Sold out. So I made all kinds of money, got fat, the whole 9 yards. The cop shut me down. I would have made $30,000 that night. The cop shut my beer down an hour and a half early.
Wow.
Because I was making too much money. I looked like a pimp. I'm in San Bruno, California, and I was a former resident of that city, and they really don't like brown people all that much. And here was this brown guy talking all the smack and this and that. And they said, you know what? We're just going to shut down his beer. And they shut me up real quick, man, when they shut their beer down. Because ching, ching, it came to an end. Beer is where you make the money.
Yeah, that's it. And nobody wants to watch the fight. I mean, especially, I'm assuming you had a bunch of, Mexicans in there watching the fight. 4
Spanish screens? Yeah. 4 screens of Spanish. So. That was a genius move. It was probably the last genius move I was able to pull off, and that was, 25, 30 years ago. No, seriously, De La Hoya, of course, that was pay-per-view, but not pay-per-view per se, because at that point in time, Chavez was with Showtime, and De La Hoya was with HBO, so they did the fight on pay-per-view, and whoever won got to show it the next week.
I see.
So that's where that went down. Speaking of De La Hoya, I saw him when he was 16 years old, kicking John Montez's ass in the ring. John Montez was a bad dude. John Montez was a double bad dude. And this 16-year-old kid is kicking the spit out of him. Spit with an H, okay? Just kicking his ass. I'm saying to myself, because, everybody told me how good he was. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe any of that crap until I see it myself, right?
Yeah.
He looked like a combination. He looked like Alexis Arguello with Ray Leonard's hands.
Wow.
I was absolutely blown away. I knew that day that kid was going to be a boxing guy. Of course, I was his first publicist back in the days when his mother, Cecilia, used to answer the phone. She was a nice lady. She passed away from breast cancer, but she was a nice lady. And my Spanish is terrible. You just found out the Mary Cohn thing, calling myself a queer. Bunch of them. Hey, and these chicks turn around, he's a queer. And they're all pointing at me. Oh. Anyway, where was I before I got lost in the queer thing?
Well, you're talking about De La Hoya being his first publicist.
Yeah, so I used to call Oscar's house, and his mother would go, Oscar, teléfono. But I was, ¿es posible hablar con Oscar? I mean, that was it, man. I didn't try to go no deeper with her whatsoever because I was afraid she would say something I wouldn't say, and I'd be embarrassed. Because, once you embarrass yourself like that, like I did, you really watch how you step as far as languages and things like that are concerned, okay? I mean, yeah, because I listen. I mean, there was like 100 chicks in the room that night, right? And all 100 knew who I was, for the wrong reason.
For the wrong reason. So it's safe to say you didn't get lucky that night.
I didn't get lucky. You kidding? They laughed. They were laughing. I was a laughing stock of the evening. I was even laughing at me. My partner's going, yeah, they think you're a fag. I said, whoa. He goes, and then when they come up to me, they say to me, Baba, where are you from? I tell them San Francisco. That
makes it even worse.
That cements it, exactly. So now listen, I got hit one time. Me and Mills Lane were in Oklahoma or something like that. And some girl asked me, goes, where are you from? Or something like that. I said, Northern California. She goes, where exactly? I go, Oakland. She goes, oh, that's a rough place. If I said San Francisco, with the gay overtones would have jumped in right then and there. So Mills said to me, he goes, why'd you tell her you were from Oakland? He goes, you're born and raised in San Francisco. I said, yeah, I know, but the gay thing. He goes, what do you mean the gay thing? I said, it's a long story, Mills. I don't want to go into it.
Speaking of that, let's do this. I got a picture I was going to share with everybody. There he is. Let's see if it pops up.
Wow. That's 2003 or 2004. That I think was taken in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Cincinnati, Ohio, one or the other. And obviously, the man in the middle is Mr. Al Bernstein. I wish him the very best. He has some medical issues, and he seems to have beaten cancer. More power to him. Besides that, he's an asshole. He's the most insecure creep I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
The most insecure creep I've ever met in my life. I wasn't going to say nothing nice about him, but somehow I got rolling on the negative there. But yeah, I mean, one time we were doing a fight in Las Vegas. I was doing the color commentary, and he was doing the blow by blow. And we had another guy on the team, I think a judge or something like that, or maybe I was a judge. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, so I was talking about David Sample. David Sample was being being handled by Gladys, Richard. Who's the referee down? Richard, what's his name?
Richard Steele?
Richard Steele. Yeah, his wife was working with his kid, David Samples. We had him on the card. He was a left-hander, and he was fighting perfectly. He had his right foot on the outside of the orthodox fighter's lead left foot, right? So I pointed it out twice. In between one rounds, Al Bernstein got up and threw his headset on the floor. Said, if he continues to talk, I'm leaving.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So then a few years later, we get teamed up together to do the Let's Get It On boxing with Mills Lane. So he's a drinker. I'm not a drinker. Okay, I'm not. In fact, you look at me, man. Look at that beautiful face. I didn't no booze there. So anyway, lots of weed. But so Al Bernstein. So me and Al have got these two chicks at the bar. We're in Cincinnati. I forget where we were. And we got these two chicks at the bar, and they're not all interested now. No knock on Al, but just weren't all interested now. So I said, let's go smoke some weed. She goes, yeah. Girl said, yeah. So we went back to my room and smoked some weed. And Al Bernstein called Tony Holden, the promoter, and said, Pedro's in the room smoking marijuana. He didn't mention the two chicks. You hear what I'm saying? He didn't mention the two chicks.
That's messed up. That's crazy.
That's a backstabbing cockblocker.
Yeah. Earmuffs. You guess, watch them out, Pedro. Earmuffs.
Am I doing bad things here? I'm sorry.
No. Well, you said the C word. You know, I know it's a chicken, but or a hen or whatever, but you can't say these things on
What
YouTube.
what word did I use?
You said C blocker.
COCK?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Okay, well it's a rooster blocker.
Okay, but we got the point.
It's a rooster blocker. Good Lord, man. So anyway, so me and Al worked a few more shows together. Listen, me and Al didn't like each other. I mean, before the show, we'd be growling at each other, but when we went on the air, we were excellent. We were effing excellent together. And I think that, Larry Merch and Jim Lampley never got along.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Oh, no. In fact, Larry told me, and of course, Jim Lampley's a good guy, and he seems like he's making his comeback in boxing.
Yeah. He's going to be working with Turkey, I think.
He's going to be working with Turkey?
I think so. He's going to be doing commentary. I think he's coming back.
Good. I wish him the very best on that. I just, I don't get him drunk around women, though.
I knew he was going to bring that up.
What are you laughing about? Why are you laughing? Because you know all the inside stuff already.
I've heard the stories, and I was like, damn, I knew he was going to mention that when he said Lampley. He said, don't get him drunk around women. Okay. I mean, people know about Jim Lampley anyway.
No, they don't know about him. He's had a couple of incidents of domestic violence. The first was with his ex-wife, and I was there, and he was choking her, and I had to slap a police chokehold on him. And I told him, this is what I said to him: Mother Ducker, you don't let go, you're going to sleep. And guess what, Tommy D? The strength was coming out of his body. I could see him. I could feel him getting weak in my arms as I was choking him. Okay, as he had his hands around her throat.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, nobody talked about that. They wanted, HBO said to me, you want that $2,000 a week, right? Shut up. So I never.
Now statute of limitations is gone, so you can tell.
No, I don't really care about the statute of limitations. It was all due respect to Seth Abraham. Seth Abraham was the CEO of HBO Boxing, and I consider him almost like Muhammad Ali. He could touch people without touching them personally. He was really a good man. He was really, really, really a good man. I know he's alive and well, living in the New York area. He's retired and having a good time. He was the head of Madison Square Garden after he left HBO. Yeah. Man, he took. Hey, not only did he take care of me, he threw the best parties in the world. I mean, when you have the Sopranos showing up at your party, you know what I'm saying? At the height of their popularity, you got Gandolfini, all the people hanging out, saying hello to you, trying to be nice. What's going on here, man? Are you kidding me? Yeah, but they were cool.
Okay.
And the Sopranos were really cool. Was it Janice? Yeah, Janice was Tony's sister. She shot her boyfriend Richie Abril, and they were together at the De La Hoya Mosley fight, the first one in L.A. That's we had this big party, and I said to Richie, I said, she shot you. She goes, yeah. He goes, isn't she good? And this and that. And she was. I mean, but to see them there holding hands and like being friendly, this and that, it was a little weird after seeing her shoot him on TV.
Wow.
Because she killed him.
She did.
Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt about it. I mean, she was no more breathing Richie after that.
Wow. Let's move on. I mean,
right.
So you told us a little story about, with this picture. I got another picture. Tell us a little bit about this picture.
No, here we go.
No, this is a good one. One.
All right. This is Larry Holmes' a second fight with Mike Weaver. He stopped Mike Weaver inside the distance. They were both old men in the Battle of the Seniors down in Biloxi, Mississippi. This is when I took over whatever casino that was down there. I took over the casino, and they had an ice cream machine in the kitchen, right? And a soft ice cream machine that made chocolate and vanilla ice cream combinations, right? So I got access to the kitchen 24 hours a day. I gotta have connections. So I went down. I ate I had a great time, man. I was walking in there getting crabs at 3:00 in the morning and walking out pimping around, So we had a good time down there. We really had a good time. But Larry Holmes has always treated me well. Take that back. Except for the first time I met him, he screamed at me.
Really? What did you do?
Because I asked him a question about Jerry Cooney, and he screamed at me. It was like 1982, and he screamed at me. And I told him that. I said, you know what, Mother Ducker? I said, when we first met the first time, I said, man, you screamed at me. He goes, really, Pedro? He goes, you must have had this. Yeah. You must have had it coming. I said, no, no, man, you was just sensitive. I said, I mentioned Jerry Cooney, like, you went berserk.
And go figure, they're like best friends now.
Yeah, because you know why? They made each other. They made each other billions. Those guys made so much money on that fight. Both those guys, Cooney especially.
And they make it known that they try to call each other, I think, once a week or something like that. Because
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think they really get along, and they make it known, because I know Cooney's doing a show with the commish. They do a podcast together, and I think they mention it that they always try to make sure they'll check on each other's wives, or so they got a really good friendp.
Yeah, he's a class act, no doubt about that. With a class act, of course, the Eastern Assassin didn't handle the loss to Spinks well. I was there for the Spinks fight, and I don't know. The first Michael Spinks fight when he lost the heavyweight title to Michael Spinks, I thought that was a little shaky as far as the decision was concerned. But the boxing establishment had it in for Larry Holmes, because Larry Holmes said Rocky Marciano could lick my feet. He didn't say it like that, but he said something like that. Okay, and you know what? And as far as being right or wrong is concerned, maybe the verbiage he applied was tacky. Okay, but he was 100% right.
Yeah.
Marciano, I wish all due props to Marciano and all his fans out there. Okay, but he I don't think he could compete in today's world.
No, absolutely
not as a heavyweight.
I agree with you 1,000%. And if you want to go back and talk about that Holmes Spinks fight, I thought Holmes won that fight.
A lot of people did. I was sitting there ringside. It was 15 rounds, and that's a good story about this fight. Oh, back to the gay thing. Oh, this is hysterical. This is hysterical. Okay. So I called my travel agent at the last minute because it's a Thursday. I'm thinking about going this fight because back in the days, I can call a guy and get credentials in a minute. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ringside. Boom. They took care of me. So anyway, they were taking care of the credentials, and I called my travel agent. She said, rooms are really tight in Vegas, blah, blah. She goes, well, I'll get you something. So she got me rooms at some hotel called the Safari Hotel. Well, as soon as I checked in, I knew I was in trouble. You know why? Why? That dude behind that counter was more feminine than my mother was when she was 17 years old. Okay, so I knew I was in trouble. And he goes, how can we help you today? And I'm going, I got the wrong place. I'm not homophobic, but I'm just not. But that was a little weird. So anyway, so I asked for something from room service. No. Housekeeping. I need an iron. And the dude came with no shirt, wearing shorts, like a little Hawaii type of thing. I'm saying to myself, they think I'm from San Francisco. You hear what I'm saying, Tommy? That's why they think I'm from San Francisco. And I'm checking into a gay hotel.
How do you get up in this situation? And this is only a second. This is only two stories. I'm sure there's other times. That's how do you get yourself in these situations?
Oh man, it's funny.
Is it a San Francisco thing?
It's a San Francisco thing. It is. It's a San Francisco thing. And what's funny is that when in the early '60s, when we lived in the Castro, which is like the gay area now in San Francisco, where they deem the gay area, we lived on 22nd Castro, and my father. The gay guys moved in across the street. He was looking out the window like spying, right? Going, damn, he had some derogatory terms, blah, 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 right? So then about a week later, I see him walk out of their house. And I say to myself, WTF? What's going on? Yeah, well, they smoked good weed. The old man liked smoking weed, and they got together and they smoked weed. He painted their house and the whole 9 yards. I mean, yeah, so, he was homophobic as hell, and now he was hanging with gay guys. My mother was laughing like hell because mom couldn't figure out why he was going across the street. You understand? He was going across the street to smoke weed.
Paisley, you're the best. One more. I got one last one for you. This is not bad. It's not bad, and you don't have to tell us about this person per se. You could tell us about the person you took the picture with.
The wire-haired wonder, the king of nap. When I named him the king of nap, he loved it. He loved it.
Really?
I told you, Tommy, I kick these. I throw nicknames at guys, and one time I called him King Khan, and he got upset about that when I called him King Khan. He got upset. he got upset about that one. But outside of that, most of the nicknames I gave him, he was appreciative.
So, you literally told him the king of nap.
Oh, that's what I said. No, there's an interview with me. I said I'm here with the king of nap.
And he didn't get upset or offended?
No. Why would he get offended? He is the king of nap. He's got the best nappy head in the world.
Wow.
Whose nappy head is more recognized than Don King?
That's a good point.
No, and then named after me. Nobody.
Nobody.
He's got that weird little haircut, whatever he got, where does his little thing there, and of course, the man, you know, he was a convicted felon at one point in time, and he murdered a guy and over a $600 debt. And the cops were running up on the guy, and Don King was kicking this dude's ass on the ground in Cleveland. And the cops said freeze, and Don kicked him one more time, and that killed the guy. I think his guy's name was Sam Garrett. I think that was his name. And Sam, last words out of Sam's mouth were, "I'll get you the money, Don. I'll get you the money." And of course, Don killed him. And of course, Don was he was pardoned by the governor after the governor received a mysterious $250,000 donation. Okay, and the governor pardoned him. If the governor of Ohio hadn't pardoned Don King, he would have never been able to go anywhere in the world. He would never be able to
been the great promoter that he was.
Hell no, he wouldn't be able to travel or nothing. He was a convicted. I mean, he would have been a convicted felon. He was a pardoned felon, of course. And then there was the other time. Don King was married to a lady named Henrietta. She died about 8 or 10 years ago from Alzheimer's. She was Carl King's mother. So the Carl King is Don King's stepfather. So stepson. So Don King was running his bookie office there in Cleveland, you know, where they take bets on the phone, that kind of stuff. Like I guess there's about, I'm imagining there's like 35 telephones in the room. You know, people are picking up phones, that kind of stuff. So this guy comes in and he robs Don King, and he puts a gun in Henrietta's face. Now Henrietta wasn't married to Don King yet. She was married to his business partner. Okay, so anyway, he put a gun in her face and pulled the trigger back. You know, the handgun, pulled the trigger back, cocked it, and so Don gave him the money. So the dude made one fatal mistake. You know what he did, Tommy?
What?
He turned his back on Don King. Don shot his ass 3 times.
Wow.
He was dead before he hit the floor. Brought that spit on himself.
Yeah.
Brought that spit on himself. Shot it. Yeah, that was that. So that was a justifiable homicide. But yeah, Don King has killed at least 2 people. It's rumored to be 3. You know, and hey, and I remember when I went to St. Louis, he told me, Pedro, don't take your black ass to St. Louis. I said, what you mean, Don? He goes, them niggas will kill you over there. He goes, you can't do it, Pedro. You can't go. You can't go. I'm quoting somebody here. So you come on, you give me some black. Cut me some black. I'm quoting somebody here. So I went to East St. Louis with a camera crew because this is where Corey Spinks was from. And I was doing a TV special on Corey Spinks. This TV network had paid me to go in there and do a special on Corey Spinks and Zab Judah. We expected Corey Spinks to win. Okay. So I had to do a story about the mean streets of East St. Louis. So Don says, don't go out there. They'll kill you, blah, 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 blah. So we went out to East St. Louis, and I saw some really gnarly-looking gangsters on the corner. I mean, these guys were gnarly. Yeah, I mean, these guys like rough-looking dudes. It was cold outside. I mean, listen, when you're a gangster and it's 38 degrees outside and you're hanging in the street, you're gnarly. Okay. Yeah, good Lord. So anyway, so I said, those are the guys. Those are the guys. Yeah, I go. So when we come back around the corner, I said, shoot some video of those guys. We'll use that from the mean streets of East St. Louis to the World Championship. That's how we'll do this. That's the key we'll use. He said, okay. So go around the corner one more time. The guys pulled 3 guns on us. Wow. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 guns. 3 guns. It was 4 guys, and 3 of them had guns pointed at us. I said, get your ass out of here. Yeah, we're leaving. We're leaving. So you know, Don King. Go ahead. I went back and I told Don, he goes, you went, I mean, the mother ducker, he called me every name you can imagine this, and he goes, I told you. I said, yeah, but I got some good pimp socks. You know what pimp socks are? No. They're these nylon socks we used to wear back in the day. Pimps used to wear them. They called them pimp socks. They were nylons, and they had stripes going up and down them. Like they were thin nylons. They were nylons for men. We called them pimp socks. But they had, East St. Louis had all that pimp clothes. I mean, long coats, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I spent a few bucks in East St. Louis.
Okay. You know, a couple things. So one, Don King is on your like you have him as part of like one of your intros. And you know, I guess that's kind of the relationship you had. He says, and he introduces you to Ring Talk Worldwide. And how did that come along where he did that? Like it was really natural. I'm assuming it was natural, not scripted. But he said,
here's what's up.
He thinks he's good in his own right.
I went into we were at a convention in New York City. I can't remember. I think it was a WBC convention. And some people, there were a couple of fighters there, and they were working at the Times Square gym. Was it Times Square? Yeah, I think it was Times Square. So I went down to the Times Square gym, and I sparred with Saul Mami and a couple other guys, and I looked beautiful. I looked fat. I mean, I looked stellar. And guess what? I had been retired for a year and a half. Okay. Wow. Yeah, and I looked good. And I mean, here's what's up. I was a slick southpaw. I could do the slick southpaw things, or I could fight you tough, as an Orthodox fighter. That was sort of the way. I guess that's the best way you could describe me. And I went both ways on these guys, and I had a good time. And I got out the ring and said, Don said, he says to me, "How old are you?" I said, "Don't even think about it." That's what he said to me. "How old are you?" I mean, wait. Why do you care how old I am? You gonna give me a pension? No. You got his little things were working. His little mind was clicking. He goes, "No, Pedro, you can fight, man." I said, "Nah, it don't matter, Don." I said, "Look how pretty that face is. No scar, 52 fights, 4 amateur Golden Glove titles. No, I ain't getting hit no more." And that's what it was. I didn't want to get hit no more. I mean,
okay. So I thought it had something to do with like maybe you talking boxing or your announcers, because he said, Pedro, he thinks he's great in his own right. And then
no, because he said was I saw him working out. That's what he said. I saw him working out here the other day, and everybody's after him, blah blah blah. And at that point in time, he was right. I mean, Poison Pen Pedro was I don't want to say I was the talk of the boxing world, but I was the best writer. I mean, every 10 days I would come out with something, and guess who read me? The New York Times, the New York Post, the New York Newsday, New York Daily News. All those guys read me. All those guys knew my column. Okay, they all read me. In fact, Ron Borges of the Boston Globe had to put a note at the end of his columns in the Globe because he was stealing my stuff. So I said he had to put some of this comes from internet reports. He should have said this is coming. I'm basically rewriting Pedro Fernandez's column. That's what he should have said.
And who gave you the nickname? Was it Poison Pen?
I don't remember who did that. I have no idea who did that. But
was it a reason why they called you that, Poison Pen Pedro?
Because I was kicking everybody's ass.
Oh. And you got an award. You
North American Boxing Writer of the Year, not once but twice.
Wow, nice.
Back when it mattered. Back when awards mattered.
Now there's no media. There's no boxing media.
They flew me to Hawaii, first class, and that was good. Hey, here's a good one. I went to Hawaii, and I'm looking really good. Am I a little conceited? No, I'm confident. Anyway, so I go to this club, and all these girls are looking across the room, and they're all staring at me, and they're all pointing at me, this, that, and they're giggling, this, that. I'm going to myself, man, this is it. I said, I should have came to Hawaii like 30 years ago, man. What's the matter with you? You're at home. You can't catch a cold at home. I said, all these broads are here for you. Look at these broads, man. They're beautiful women.
Wow.
Right? So anyway, one of them comes across the room. She says to me, "You still working as a cop in San Francisco?" I said, "What?" She goes, "Yes." You don't remember me? And I go, "You're a hooker." They were all hookers. All those chicks who were looking at me were hookers. That's him.
Oh man, Pedro, I got one more for you, and then we'll talk a little bit of the fights and stuff like that, and I'll let you go. But you had an interesting story about with Don King that you told us about. I think in Atlantic City, and with Trump.
Oh, that wasn't exciting. That wasn't nothing exciting.
It was funny the way he did it though. Like, didn't he what he did? He tricked Trump, right? He tricked Trump into giving him more money or something like that.
No. Here's what's up. He said to me, we're eating breakfast one morning in Don King's office, and I was using his telephone because it cost a lot of money to call long distance back then. Okay, if you went to a payphone, it was like $5 a minute. Okay, or 3 minutes. Anyway, so I'm in there using his phone, eating breakfast, this and that, and they brought us in a catered breakfast on like a ping pong table. And the phone rings, and Don's stuffing his mouth with pork chops or some kind of crazy. I mean, what else we eat in the morning? Pork ribs. I mean, anything went. Okay, so we're having ribs and eggs. That's what it was. Ribs, I loved it. I couldn't believe it. That's the most weirdest combination I had in my life. Ribs and eggs, and we're eating, and the phone rings, and Don grabs the phone. He goes, yeah, okay. Hangs with the phone. He goes, Pedro. I go, what? Donald Trump's coming downstairs. I said, I don't like the mother. Can I use that word? Can I use that mother? Can I use? Anyway, I don't like the mother duck anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I said, I don't like the mother duck anyway. I said, Mark introduced me to him yesterday. I said, I wasn't impressed, and neither was he. I said, so, he goes, well, go in the back of the room. Don't muck it up for the rest of us. And he didn't use the word muck. He used another word. So go in the back of the room. So I went in the back of the room, and Donald Trump came in, and Don says to him, listen, I need you to pay for that party for Sugar Ray Robinson tomorrow night. And Don goes, how much are you going to, Trump goes, how much? He goes, probably like $270,000, right? He goes, yeah, not a problem. He goes, okay. He goes, can you give me a picture? He goes, yeah. So for the picture, for a picture with Don King, it cost Donald Trump $270,000.
Wow. And he made a comment afterwards, right? Didn't he tell you so? He said, that's how, what did he say? He said something weird after that, right?
No, he said, I can't remember exactly what he said afterwards, but he told me that's the way it's done, Pedro. That's the way it's
Okay.
done. I mean, listen, he taught me a lot of things. When I promote boxing cards and dances and that kind of stuff, right? I get a cut of the bar. You know who taught me how to get a cut of the bar? Don King.
Wow.
When I throw a dance, I throw $1 on top of each drink, and I keep the dollar. I mean, come on, man. That was
I got you.
$1,300. That was $1,300 my last dance.
Mm.
We served 1,300 drinks.
Wow. So that's $1,300. So you charge $1 more.
No, I charge $1 more, and I put that in my pocket.
That was to you, yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like some of these illegal poker games I used to be at. So
I don't know anything about those illegal poker games. I have no idea. I really don't. But straight up, here we are, talking boxing in 2025, and things are going in all kinds of different directions, both politically and as far as the boxing world is concerned, and in the world as far as politics is up in arms. So I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm not a big fan of Dana White. I never have been. We had a contract together where I was getting $4,000 a month to do some UFC advertising back in 2003 or 2004. And he came to me after about 4 months and said, listen, we got to cut the contract to $1,000 a month. I told him to blow me. And basically, yeah, hell with it, man. No. Don't be shaking your head like that. Screw that guy.
Okay.
Wow. So anyway, that was the end of that.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's go. Let's talk about what we go into. I was talking before you came on. I was talking about this big card that's going to happen in Times Square. What's your feeling about that? Like doing a big event outside in the middle of Times Square. Are you okay with that? Do you think that's good? You think Turkey's good for the sport? Because he's the one that's envisioning all this.
I don't know. Everything's an I don't know to this at this point. I don't know. I know that when one person's in control, you have corruption, you have power, it's just total control means there's going to be some corruption involved. I always thought. Okay, so I don't like the way Dana White does things. So anyway, so Dana says to me, he says, you have to take $1,000 a month. I told him to stick it up his ear. And anyway, so I kept the fourth. We had the contract around for the rest of the year, right? And he hated me. And when he saw me places, he would snarl at me. I said, man, don't you snarl at me. You can't get bad with me, Dana.
Well, Dana can scrap. Maybe not box, but he might.
Dana talked about fighting Tito Ortiz one time, this and that. Dana's more talking than anything else. I will say this: he's in pretty damn good shape lately, though.
Yeah,
he's gotten himself. He's doing some different diet and some exercise, that kind of good stuff. So we wish him the very best of that. Listen, I don't wish bad luck or ill feelings on any of these guys. I just don't like them.
Yeah, but you got a reason, It's not you're not just disliking people just to dislike them.
No, but I think he's a pimp. I mean, and I knew some good pimps in my time, but I knew when I was a cop, I knew pimps in San Francisco. Listen, the pimps I knew could not get away with putting their hoes on the street like Dana does,
and pay them so little,
paying so little. Exactly. You know what? If you paid street hoes what Dana White pays fighters, they'd be on the first bus to Denver. Okay.
That's a good analogy there.
They'd just be on the first bus to Denver, man. I'm just moving on.
Pedro, you have a way with words that like no other.
That's from my uncle. My uncle taught me how to read early. I was so far ahead of the rest of the kids that got lonesome.
Okay.
It's the truth, man. I mean, I was reading 6th grade level in the 2nd grade.
Wow.
And they were blown away by it. And I remember the teacher thought I was a genius. The teacher goes, no, he's not a genius. His uncle works with him. He's got a tutor. He's got a tutor working with him all the time as far as his reading concerned. And my uncle was an alcoholic. He'd wake me up at 1:30 in the morning and make me come read the newspaper to him. Of course, he paid me $10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he made reading fun. You know what I'm saying? He made it reading fun. He made it rewarding, this and that. And I just took off with it, And like he used to tell my cousins, he goes, he's so far ahead you, it gets lonesome. And they didn't get it. They got it later. But I credit him. I think reading comprehension, literacy is everything, Tommy D. It's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a gifted young lady in Tamara who's going to college right now. I mean, we put all kinds of faith and the best wishes and hope that she has the best luck in this set, and she turns out to be whatever she wants to in this world. She has a lot of opportunities, and it's because you were such a super dad and your wife was a super wife. So tell her I said that. Super mom.
I appreciate that.
No, man.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and we're going to put some pictures on there, and you talk about the pictures. But you got to behave, because I know you're not going to behave on one particular picture. So we'll be right back in 30 seconds. We're going to be back in 30 seconds.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
So there you got it, Fatal Fury. That's the card. That's the poster. That's what's going on, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to put some pictures, and then you briefly tell me what you think about this fight, the matchup. Don't tell me what you think about the individual, because I know
Okay. I've got my barf bag here. See it? I got the bag right next to me, so in case I have to heave, I got the bag here.
Just behave, please.
I'll behave, but if I have to heave, I have to heave. I'm sorry. Go on.
Okay. Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza. This is the only title fight of the whole card. This is for the WBO super lightweight junior welterweight title, 140 pounds. What do you think about this fight, and what do you think about the fighters per se?
Do you know how the WBO got started?
No, tell me.
It was 3 disgruntled Puerto Ricans, and the WBA decided to start the WBO. That was it. I'm not BSing you.
Really?
That's how the WBA got started. Now, as far as this fight's concerned, I think it's a really good fight. Teofimo Lopez had the potential to become one of boxing's biggest stars. Somehow, I think he missed the boat somewhere. I think the opportunity was there for him, and somehow I think he missed it. I don't know how he missed it. He's got a father that's not the most stable guy in the entire world. I mean, this guy was dancing around when he was getting beat up. I couldn't figure that one out. But the bottom line is, they've been a winning team thus far. And of course, Barbosa is supposed to be a competent challenger. He's got the height and the reach on him. It's gonna be a good fight. I think it's a pick 'em fight almost. Maybe you got to give Teo a little edge because of the fact he's got the experience factor and he's been there. He's been deep before, but this guy's a live underdog.
I agree. I think everything you just said, I totally agree with you. I don't like Teofimo per se as a person, but you can't discredit what he's done in the ring. I think he's been a good champion. He's got a couple gift decisions in my opinion. But at the end of the day, he's got more experience than Arnold Barboza, who looks gamed. I mean, at the press conference, he seemed game. He seemed like he's ready for this opportunity. He's been waiting for a while. I believe they were both in Top Rank at one point. He called out Teofimo. The fight never happened, so he's looking forward to this. And I think this is a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, I think it is too as well. Listen, it's a good idea to go outdoors, I think, at Times Square, and we'll see how that works out. But I think it's a good idea. Unfortunately, Dana White's involved. But continue. Go on. Okay.
The next fight, behave. We got Devin Haney fighting at welterweight, 147 pounds, taking in the comeback after last year's fight. First fight back, taking on Jose Ramirez.
Yeah,
Ramirez hasn't looked too good either. I think his last fight was against Arnold Barboza, where Barboza won a decision. But this is at 147. Maybe Jose Ramirez might feel better at this weight. Devin Haney, he has a big frame for this weight. I think he'll fill in nicely. What do you think of this matchup? The matchup.
It's okay. Listen, I can't watch any fight involving Devin Haney. I just can't. I think he's a total fraud. He can't fight. He can't take a punch, and he can't give a punch. He can't punch, and he can't take a punch. What value does he have as a prize fighter, except for the fact he moves around the ring well?
But that's boxing, and he's a good boxer.
No. Boxing is hitting people and hurting them. Okay, he can't hurt people, man.
We go back and forth on this all the time.
I know. Anyway, all right.
I'll just go with this. I'll go with this. You say he can't take a punch. He's never been knocked out. He's never been stopped.
Well, Harvey Dock saved his ass in that 8th round, the 7th round. Everybody knows that. He was down 4 times in that round. 4 times. And they didn't call all the knockdowns.
Yeah,
you can't give Harvey Dock a pass on that, man. Just like that referee doesn't know. You can't give him a pass.
Harvey Dock was bad in that fight as well when when Garcia was turning his back on Devin Haney.
No,
And
Ryan
he didn't get no warning either. I mean,
Ryan Garcia is a jerk. Okay, I'm not a big Ryan Garcia fan. Okay, I'm a fan of the fact that he embarrassed Devin Haney the way he did, because you know what, Devin Haney tried to get that fight taken off of YouTube. He tried to get the film taken off YouTube. What kind of crap is that?
But he came in dirty. He popped dirty. I mean, come on, man. PEDs, that's, come on. He came in dirty. They only found a little bit, but why was it in the system? There must have been more than a little bit. He was trying to get it out with the IVs. No, but we're always going to disagree on this. So yeah. I'm picking Devin Haney in this fight. I think Devin Haney will outclass him, outbox him.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, Devin, he probably will outbox him this and that. But if he gets caught on that China chin of his, it's over.
Okay, like he has been before when he's never been stopped.
Listen,
never.
Anytime Linares hit him once, he walked back to his corner on Queer Street. Okay.
Yeah, but and he was able to manage and stay and finish the fight.
Yeah, because he got him in arrest. You've never fought Tommy D, so you don't know, man. That guy was buzzed bad, bro. He was buzzed bad. And if Linares had another minute, he might have taken him out.
Yeah, but that was one round of 12.
I know, and I get that. But we're talking about his chin. We're talking about his chin. His chin flopped there, and then his chin flopped against Ryan Garcia, I thought. Anyway, let's move on. As far as Ryan
always going to disagree on that.
I know. As far as Ryan Garcia is concerned, him and Rolly Romero is going to be an entertaining fight. I think that Mr. Garcia is too big for Romero. Romero's a 135-pounder at his biggest, I believe. And I think this is size matters to do things, pornography and combat sports. And believe me, this is combat sports.
And who do you favor in this fight? Garcia?
I think you would have to go with Garcia.
Yeah, I think this is probably the easiest fight to pick of the three. I don't think Rolly's that good. I do think he has a puncher's chance. I think he's incredibly strong. I think if he does hit Ryan, the right way, I think he could stop Ryan. We've seen Ryan go down multiple times before, so I think that's possible. But as far as skill and ability, I mean, Rolly looked bad against Pitbull Cruz, who watched.
But Pitbull Cruz flopped miserably against that guy that lost every minute of every round last week.
That's what I'm saying. And Rolly lost to Pitbull Cruz. So what do you expect him to do against Ryan Garcia?
What was that guy's name last week that lost his title to Gary Russell?
Rayo.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. Gary Russell, whatever Gary Russell is.
Gary Antoine Russell.
Yeah. Well, anyway, whatever one he is, the bottom line is he looked a little old to me, but he looked like he could really fight. And he was throwing shots with bad intentions on him from the start to the end. That's the way you're supposed to fight. You're not supposed to fight like some of the guys we just mentioned. You're supposed to fight like you're supposed to fight like him.
All right. Well, I know we do this every week. We go at it. All right. Here's us. So let's move on from that card and let's go. What do you think about this right here? I know you got a lot of opinions on this, and we'll get it. It was just announced today.
I don't think Amanda Serrano should be fighting again. Not for a long time. I think she should take at least a year off for that cut underneath her eye and her face. Her face she's going to look like a cyclops when this is all over with. And the fact that, unless she wears a headgear, she's going to get butted again. Katie Taylor is the dirtiest fighter pound for pound in boxing. With pound for pound, I mean, she makes Eusebio Pedrosa look clean. And he threw 37 elbows at Juan Laporte and hit him with 37 elbows.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know what she's going to get out of this fight. I mean, I don't think, unless she could stop Katie Taylor, and she's had her hurt twice in both fights. But if she doesn't finish, I don't think she's going to get a decision in the third fight as well. I thought she was robbed the second fight. I thought she clearly won. And
I thought she might have won the first one.
The first one was a lot closer, I thought.
Yeah, but the second
and I
one,
thought she won. I thought she won the first one. The second one, I thought she dominated. And they robbed her. So I just think it's, hopefully this is it for Amanda, because she, I think these fights have taken a lot out of her.
No, bro. Listen, she's got a little tiny head. You ever seen how small her head is? Her brain is even smaller. You know what I'm saying? She don't need to be getting. I mean, she's been getting hit on the head a long time. She's 35 years old, I think, so something like that. Yeah. And she's had like almost 40 fights, 30 fights. You know what I'm saying? So she's had a lot of fights, and I just wish that people will go away a fight too soon rather than a fight too late. And people don't, and a lot of your listeners and viewers probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I see these guys, Jerry Quarry and I used to talk. Jerry Quarry was considered one of the greatest heavyweights of the 1970s and 60s, okay? The Great White Hope, et cetera, et cetera. Lost to Ali, Frazier, and Foreman. That's the only guys he lost to. he used to do the crossword puzzle, the New York Times crossword puzzle, in about 15 minutes. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
One time I watched him knock out a crossword puzzle in the 80s, and it was the late 70s. I was blown away by it. I mean, that's how sharp he was, right? So the next time I saw him, he didn't know who I was. He didn't know who he was. Okay, and that's what happens. The residual effects of professional boxing are ugly.
Yeah.
And you and I, we enjoy it, this and that, but there's the beatings that these guys take. They're unforgiving beatings. You don't. That's why I'm so down on MMA. I mean, the shots that those guys take in MMA. If I can change somebody's perspective, hitting them in the face with a glove, with a 10-ounce or an 8-ounce glove. Imagine what I do with a 4-ounce glove, and they're laying on the floor, and I'm hitting them down.
And there's nothing they can't go back.
There's no shot, nothing to absorb the shock except their head in the fist. Okay, so I'm down on that. I think that's totally illegal. It should be totally illegal, and it shouldn't. I mean, they can still do the MMA thing without killing people on the ground. You know what I'm saying? But that's the blood factor. That's the blood factor, and that's what those people are into. They're into blood.
Yeah, that's true. I got one more for you. Your favorite fighter, besides your other favorite fighter that you like to talk bad about. I got your other favorite fighter that you love. They had the press conference today.
Oh my God! You mean William Skull? Hey, when I found out that Canelo was getting Skull on May the 3rd, I didn't know how to take that at first. Because Skull is considered a weird. Skull is considered. In the ghetto, it's called oral copulation, is what it's called. So when I heard Canelo was getting Skull, I said, "From who?" And it turned out to be William Skull. Now, Mr. Mancuso, I hope you don't get thrown off the air for this one. I'm sorry. Rich, I hope you're feeling better, too. I feel honored to be able to step in and spend some time on your show tonight, Rich. So I hope you're feeling better and get well soon and get some Skype so we can do some radio together.
I think he'll definitely want to do that. But yeah, Canelo. Do you think this guy William Skull has a shot? Do you even know who William Skull is?
No, he has. No. You've heard Don King on my show, and he talks about having a chance. This guy. He has 2 chances: slim and none, and slim just left town.
Wow. Okay. One thing I want to bring up about this, it just reminds us that I think today or yesterday, I think it was announced, which is crazy. I find it shocking, but we know why they did it. And didn't do it before. David Benavidez declared the mandatory in the WBC by your friend, one of your best friends, the silly man. He was mandated right away. Look how fast he's mandated for Bivol, and then he never mandated versus Canelo. What are your feelings about your best friend?
He was mandated by Mauricio Suleiman, whatever you want to call him, within hours of the win over Beterbiev, okay? And instead of saying, maybe they should do it again or something like that, it was a good fight. They fought 2 times, maybe they should fight 3 times. Now he wants to Mauricio Suleiman wants to throw Benavidez in the mix, but he wouldn't throw Benavidez in the mix with Canelo for 3.5 years. Okay, so that's an indictment not only of the WBC but of the press. There's no media. If there was a 5th estate, if the New York papers were rocking and rolling, if the trade papers were still going, there's no way he can get away with that crap. No way.
You're right, and nobody's pressed him on it. I mean, the fans have pressed him. The fans been calling.
Fans haven't pressed him. He writes as if it doesn't even happen.
No, I understand that, but I'm talking about Suleiman. Like they pressed that silly man. They pressed him many times. The fans are calling. Even Mexican fans are upset with Canelo not fighting Benavidez.
Well, here's what's up. Canelo's a big sissy to an extent. He's a fighter that probably maxed out 160 pounds. He's fighting guys at 168 because he doesn't want to cut the weight to where he should be at 160. Okay, so he's a pig for doing that. He had a belly the last time he fought. He was loose. I'm just really not impressed with him at all. In fact, I just wish he would go away. I just do. I mean, I understand that all fighters get old, but you have to accept that at some point in time. It doesn't mean when you get old. I mean, you imagine Joe Frazier said, "You know what? I'm not going to fight Muhammad Ali." I mean, that's what Canelo's done. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to fight Muhammad Ali or Roberto Duran or Ray Leonard saying, "You know what? Roberto Duran's ranked number 1. I'm not fighting him." We would burn down the boxing world if that was the case back then. But now nobody says anything. Who cares?
Wow. Well, and that's what it is, and it's unfortunate. Now we're going to have this, and Canelo's signed a big 4-fight deal with the Turkey. And now he's setting up to fight Bud Crawford later in September.
And you know what? All I can hope is that Bud Crawford kills him. That's all I hope that Bud Crawford lays him out to the point where he spits on him when he's down.
Do you think he's got a shot?
I think he's got a hell of a shot. He's a much better fighter.
He is a much better fighter.
He's a much better fighter. And you know what? The only thing here is size. Size matters.
And I was just about to say that your comment. Size matters in two things:
pornography and combat sports. But Canelo is the guy that started off at 146 as a pro. And Crawford only started 10 pounds lighter at 135. And Crawford always had to cut off an arm and a leg to make 135, 140, and even 147. He's even having problems making 154. If you stood next to dude, he ain't no small guy.
No, he's not. He's a big guy.
No, and he'll put on some meat for this one. I think he'll put on a little bit of meat. I think he will do well as long as it lasts. And if he can stay out of trouble, I think he can win.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him to win. I want him to win desperately. I'm not listen, I've watched some of the great Mexican champions, Salvador Sanchez. I watched him beat Wilfredo Gomez. I mean, imagine if Sanchez would have said, you know what, I'm not fighting Gomez. Everybody wants me to fight him. He's the number one killer in the world, 32-0 with 32 knockouts and a draw. I'm not going to fight him. Well, that would have been that's what Canelo did with Benavidez.
Yeah. Okay.
And Mr. Suleiman, Mauricio, call him what you want. He's giving this guy a pass on that. And personally, you and I are no longer associated with the WBC TV because we told them to go stick it up there. You know what?
Yeah, and
we weren't taking their smack. We weren't kissing their ass no more, man.
Yeah, and in full context for you guys that are watching, that was when we were talking about Oshaki Foster and Conceição, and we went at it, and we were on WBC TV, and they didn't like the way we criticized the WBC, and we got kicked off.
And for saying that if Mauricio didn't take care of business, he was part of the problem, not the solution, and then that the decision was horrible. It was one of the worst decisions ever, and it just was. I mean, that decision was bad, man. I mean, I thought the guy won 10 or 11, 9 or 10 rounds.
Easy. And
two judges thought he didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, they got it right the next time, but, it's unfortunate. You have to have that rematch and,
Well, no, it wasn't unfortunate if you got the gift the first time. You got two paydays out of it. Canseco got a lot. Because listen, Canseco must have dirty pictures of Mauricio somewhere. You know why? Because he keeps getting these title fights.
He keeps getting these title fights. That's right. That was like this fourth opportunity.
Yeah.
Fourth or third opportunity, and that's
at least third.
And they gave him the title. Pretty much gave it to him. Right. But Pedro, we've been on for a minute. I really appreciate you, man. You're great. This was you made this show a lot better for me.
Tommy D, you are the undisputed heavyweight champion of fathers. Okay, and that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? Nothing else matters. I'll leave you with this. Greg Haugen died a week ago. Okay, Greg Haugen. Me and Greg, we had hots, and we ran hot and cold, this and that. We were in the gym together. We almost sparred a couple times. Anyway, he's a really unpredictable guy. But I said to him, what do you think? Looking back at your boxing career, I said, what stands out for you? He goes, nothing, Pedro. It was a job. He goes, what only matters to me is my kids. Me being a father, that's all that matters to me. And I think he had an autistic son, okay? But Greg was the greatest father of all time, or could have been, outside of you, okay? And Sock. So you guys are all three great fighters. You guys should all, be honored together. I mean, great fathers are hard to come by, and they're rare. And I'll say this to you. If everybody had a decent home, a background of parents like your wife and you, okay, supporting you and putting you up, there wouldn't be as many failures in the world as there is. Okay, in the world, there's a lot of kids that are failures in the world because their parents aren't supportive. Their parents don't push them. Their parents don't motivate them. Their parents just say, come home, just don't cause any trouble. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be a pain in the ass. Don't get on my nerves. And that's it. But you guys have done, and Sock as well. You guys have done the father thing and the parent thing well. And I honor you guys for that. And I honor Greg Haugen for that. And Greg should be remembered as a good 2-division champion. Of course, he beat Camacho. They took the Camacho win away from him. You know why?
Why?
He tested positive for weed. Can you believe? I mean, of all people, you're going to take something away from Camacho?
Wow. You got some good stories about Camacho too. I think
we'll do that on Tommy D story. We'll do that on Tommy D show. Okay. But anyway, I thank you for the time tonight, and we're running over time. Much love, much respect, and Oh, as far as Rich Mancuso's are concerned, Rich, get well soon, my brother. Peace, love, and a ton of respect from the West Coast. I would say San Francisco, but I get in trouble when I say that. So to the West Coast. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Pedro. I appreciate you. We'll talk later.
Bye-bye.
All right. The great Pedro Fernandez coming in, filling in with me for Rich Mancuso. He's got tons and tons of stories. He's been around the business for over 40 years. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, talk a little wrestling. I'll look at the comments in the chat. I apologize. Haven't looked at the comments. I'll go back. I see a lot of comments there. I'll try to go over them, and then we'll talk a little bit of wrestling, and we'll be right back.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And we are back. We are back here. Keep it in the ring. I'm Tommy D. Thomas from the Bronx, a.k.a. Tommy D. Sir Thomas Dillamuth, as Pedro calls me sometimes. And filling in for my friend Rich Mancuso, who will be back next Thursday. And wishing him to get better and get well soon. Now to the wrestling portion of the show. Unfortunately, the Rebel Rant could not make it and join us this week. He has a match this Saturday. He's going to be performing this Saturday, I believe, in Queens. Will be back next week. So I'll be doing the wrestling portion myself. I'm going to just look at the comments. I don't know if you guys were laughing at the stories or what you guys are, talking about. I'm going to try to see if I go through it. But salute to everybody that came through. I see my man Leslie is in here. He's going to get mad at me because I didn't highlight his super chat. Thank you, Leslie, for the super chat. He always goes. He's my coworker, good friend of mine. He always goes and says that I never, appreciate the support he gives us here. And thank you, Leslie. I appreciate you. It's on the screen. I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to keep it there. And he says he said nothing wrong. Let the man curse in peace. Okay, that's when Pedro was throwing some bombs out there. Also, A1 Hoops Zone with the super sticker. Appreciate you, A1. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for the support. You're not soliciting. I know last week you gave some support. Rich thought you were soliciting. It's not a solicitation. This is a donation. So I appreciate you, A1, for coming through. Appreciate the super sticker. Definitely appreciate you as a friend as well. I'm going to go back to Leslie, highlight this because he's going to roast me at work tomorrow. So he might even call me later. But appreciate everybody came through. I see D. Freeze in here. Mr. Shelton's in here. Dub Rightside. BVO is in here as well. Prize Fighter. Who else is in here real quick before we move on? Let's see, but they're going ribs and eggs are fire. Yeah, he was talking about that. I had steak and eggs, never had ribs and eggs. So an interesting combo. Maybe something I gotta try. DP Rocker was good in here as well. My man Jose, let's talk about it. I was trying to get my man Jose Fire to come on. No, that's not. No, let's talk about it. Sorry, my apologies. I'm thinking about Jose Fire. My apologies, but appreciate. Let's talk about. Appreciate you coming through. Salute to you. And let's see who else. So I apologize if I missed anybody. K-Rod was good. We're going to talk wrestling. I know a lot of you don't talk wrestling or like wrestling, but we're going to do wrestling because that's what we do on this show. So as you see on the screen, Elimination Chamber was this past Saturday, and it was one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in a while. On the road to kick off to WrestleMania coming up in April. Elimination Chamber, the Women's Elimination Chamber was crazy. Before it even started, Jade Cargill made her return. And I wish we could show video, but, WWE has everything copyrighted, so we can't show video. But Jade made her return and made a return by beating up on Naomi. Naomi was supposed to be participating in Elimination Chamber, was eliminated quickly by Jade Cargill. Apparently, everybody thought that she was going to attack Liv Morgan, who was in the ring as well, and she went after Naomi. Rumor is that Naomi was the one that caused Jade to be out of action in that accident where you see her laid out on the hood of the car. My prediction is that I think that It wasn't Naomi, or Naomi was framed. The real culprit, I will say that in a minute. But let's go to the winner of the Elimination Chamber was Bianca Belair. As you see here, Bianca Belair, was inside the chamber and could not come out, and had to watch Naomi get beat up by Jade Cargill. She's like, putting on this great show and this great act of concern and confusion and crying. But she ended up going on to win, finally eliminating Liv Morgan at the end. And she's guaranteed the world title match at WrestleMania. And she was supposed to take on the winner of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky that happened this Monday night on Raw, where everybody thought that Rhea Ripley would be victorious in this one. It would be the obvious winner, where Rhea would take on Bianca Belair in WrestleMania at the main event, the women's main event. But no, we had an upset. One of my favorites, Io Sky, defeated Rhea Ripley with a little bit of interference or distraction. Was it accidental? Was it purposely? By Bianca Belair, who was sitting at ringside by the announcer's booth. So very interesting to see what happens this Friday on SmackDown, where Jade Cargill makes her return, and supposedly she's gonna speak, and we'll get some more insight. My prediction, my guess is that Bianca Belair is the real culprit of everything. She's orchestrated everything. I think it's going to come out that she was the one that injured Jade out of jealousy, and I think you're going to see a heel turn in Bianca Belair from face to heel. And I wonder if they make this match a triple threat match where it's Jade and Bianca and Io Sky. So very interested to see what happens. But Jade Cargill has something to say tomorrow night on SmackDown, and my prediction is that Bianca Belair was the culprit and turned heels. Now on to the men's chamber. The men's elimination chamber was a great matchup as well, where you saw, John Cena coming back, and he's making his go away tour this year, and this is going to be his last year as him as a professional. He's trying to go and break the record of world titles of 17. The record is 16. He's trying to get his 17th to pass Ric Flair. He's currently tied with Ric Flair and I believe Randy Orton as well. John Cena ended up winning the match, putting CM Punk in the STFU after CM Punk was curb stomped by Rollins. Therefore, they're going to continue their feud, Punk and Rollins. But that was not the big story of the night. The big story of the night was, what was Cody going to do? Was Cody going to sell his soul to The Rock? And so the big announcement was, was he going to sell out? Was he going to join The Rock? Or was he going to, not accept it and be like this corporate champion, sort of what, back in the day when you had Vince McMahon and, The Rock himself was kind of like, the people's champion or the corporate champion, and at one time you had Steve Austin was part of that as well. But Cody went and refused and said some not so nice words to The Rock and told him to go F himself. And, whatchamacallit. So then The Rock, to his surprise, John Cena was still in the ring after celebrating, winning the Elimination Chamber. And when Cody said that, you see John Cena, celebrating, pumped up. He hugs Cody, gives him like a handshake and a firm handshake, hugs Cody. But at the same time, he's looking at The Rock, and The Rock is the signal. And the heel turn around the world. I'm talking about one for the ages, something that a lot of people thought would never happen. Sort of like when Hulk Hogan turned NWO, John Cena turns heel and beats the living hell out of Cody Rhodes. So John Cena joins The Rock as part of this corporate faction now. And John Cena will go in as the heel as he takes on Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. So very interesting. Wrestling is hot right now. I mean, listen, wrestling kind of died out for a little bit for me for a while, but now that Triple H is kind of taking over and doing more of the writing and stuff. But who would have thought to see this? The Rock plays the heel role well. He plays the good guy role, the face well. He could do either one. But John Cena, if you guys remember when John Cena first came in, he came in as a face. Then he turned heel. He started doing the rapping and stuff, and and like all heels in WWE, they turn face because the crowd loves a good heel and they cheer them on. And ever since he turned face, nobody ever thought that John Cena would turn heel again. And look what we have here. John Cena and The Rock. Not sure if John Cena will make an appearance tomorrow, but Cody Rhodes will. Very interested to see how this storyline goes. But shocking turns where, we had one turn and one predicted turn, and Bianca Belair, I believe, is going to turn heel, which is going to be shocking as well. So that's it. That's all I got for the wrestling portion of the show. Hopefully I did Rich Mancuso proud. We went overboard by a lot. Pedro had a lot to say, and I thought he was the highlight of the show as well. So we wish Rich Mancuso well. I appreciate Rich for letting me captain his show, and hopefully did well. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love to the show as well. Hopefully you guys hit the link and that I had pinned to the top of the screen, the top of the chat, went to Rich's live and watched his live as well through his channel, and hopefully you guys subscribe to his channel as well. Rich Mancuso has been in the business a very, very long time. He has a lot of information. He has a lot of connections, and he's a writer. He's covered all sports, not just boxing and wrestling. He's also done soccer and baseball as well. So we'll see you back next week. Rich will be back as well. And I appreciate you once again. So like Rich always says, good day, my friends, and continue to keep it in the ring. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.